Hello, my name is Dr. Jason Novetsky. I'm a sports psychology and mental toughness coach with Champion Mindset Group, where we believe mental toughness is a critical separator among elite athletes. Today I'm very honored to be joined with three of my very successful amateur athletes, where we're going to have a brief discussion about what they've learned in regards to mental toughness and put into practice to become what we call a beast mind athlete. First, I'd like to introduce Alex Matisse. Alex is a junior tennis player at Clarkson High School in Michigan, and his recent accomplishments include individually qualifying for the state tournament and first team All-State. Then there's Justin Loomis. Justin is a golfer. He'll be going into his junior year at Garber High School, and this past spring he really overcame some significant injuries, but was still able to win several matches and earn first team All-Conference and All-County in Bay County. And then finally, this is Chris Ackerman. Chris is a very talented baseball player from Howell, Michigan, and has accepted a scholarship to Hillsdale College, where he'll be playing baseball for the next 4 years. And this past year, he also earned All-District and All-Conference in his area. First, I want to thank all of you for being here. I know you're all very busy student athletes. First, let's start talking about your thoughts in regards to mental toughness in general. When we work together individually, we talked about at the level you're all playing at, that talent really is overrated. It's really what's between the ears that counts. So I want to ask you, what did that really mean to you? What does that mean to you now? And how has that impacted how you've approached your individual sports?
I remember the first thing that we talked about in regards to mental toughness was asking me what percent of the game I thought was mental, and then asking what percent of the game do I devote, what percent of my time do I devote to the mental side of the game. And I know that for me, just like a lot of athletes, it's really out of proportion. As a lot of people think it's 50-50, even saying it's 90% mental, 90% of baseball's half mental, all those kind of things. But people put, I don't know, probably less than 10% into the mental side. And I think what's really stood out to me is how much better I can make myself at baseball without practicing baseball, by just working on what's between the ears. And I think that that's really an overlooked part of the game. I also think that the statement "control the controllables," or CTC, that's been a big part for me. I have it written inside my baseball cap and everything, so when I go out there and play, it's just always reminding me that your mental approach to the game is something that you can always control.
I know when we first started talking and we noticed the phrase of talent is overrated, I thought first that it really is. When you get to a certain level in a sport, specifically tennis, the only one I really know, the elite players, they don't hit better shots than the good players. And a year ago, 2 years ago, I was only a good player. I wasn't at the elite level at all until I came in, I worked on my mental toughness and realized that the thing that puts the elite players above everyone else is their ability to really focus and have their mental game so far above everyone else's.
When you get to a certain point in your sport, every athlete is very fundamentally sound. So what separates the great athletes from the okay athletes is what's in between the ears. Every single one of them is going to have a nice swing, for instance in golf, but it all depends on their pre-shot routine and how they can overcome challenges, which makes them the mentally strong athlete and the elite athlete that they become.
Okay, so along those lines, in our work together, all of us had discussions about learning to be mentally tough. Some people out there feel that you're just born with mental toughness or you're not. All of you came with a certain level of mental toughness, and I believe most of you learned a lot more. But I'm curious about your thoughts now going through a process and putting it into action. What are your thoughts, opinions, and experience about the learning process of becoming more of a mentally tough athlete?
A lot of people believe that you can't truly learn to be mentally tough. They just believe you are or you aren't, which I completely disagree with. It's a very crucial thing to be able to learn to be mentally tough. Some people are fairly mentally tough to start off with, but it's still not that difficult to learn it if you truly want to and put the time into becoming mentally tough.
So I know one of the first things we talked about, like you said, was about that there's people that are born with varying levels of mental toughness. There's people that people look at as naturally mentally strong, people that are naturally mentally weak. And I think that that's absolutely the case. I think that people have natural levels of mental toughness. But one thing, I always thought of myself as a mentally tough player. But I think that through our work and everything, what I really realized is that while I think I was more on the end of the spectrum of being mentally tough, there's just so much more that you can do. There's always ways you can be more mentally tough. And I think that for me, really dedicating myself to that side of the game has helped me to learn that there's just a lot more out there.
Whenever I think about how people learn mental toughness, or whether or not some people say athletes are born mentally tough or born not mentally tough and that's what separates them, the way I thought about it, my philosophy is that mental toughness is almost like any skill or a subject in school that you might learn. Some people are born with the ability to grasp the concept a lot easier, except also some people are born with just a more difficult time. But anybody can achieve the success they want. Some people might have to put in more work than others, and that's what separates the true champions.
The next question is, we're going to talk about the three main pillars that we covered, which were mental preparation, sustaining your focus during practice and competition, and most importantly, probably for everybody, is recovering from adversity, when bad stuff happens. So first, let's talk about, your approach that you use to mentally prepare for your practice and competition. Some of the skills you learn, things you've been putting into practice. I'm very curious to see what's been working for you, what's been effective for you for mental preparation, both on and off your field of play.
A lot of people don't understand how important it is to be prepared the night before. If you're running around just before, trying to get ready, whatever you have to do, for golf, having to go buy the golf balls or whatever it is, then you're not focused in, you're not prepared. It's very important that the night before you have everything set, you can get yourself relaxed and really just focus on doing what you need to correctly the next day.
For me, the mental preparation is just important as the physical preparation. And when I'm getting ready for a big game, or really any game that I'm competing in, I think that I dedicate almost as much time on the mental side as on the physical side. And for me, what the really successful thing has been visualization. When I've been pitching in big games this year, catching or hitting or whatever it is, when I'm in the box or on the mound or whatever it is, I always feel like I've been there before, and even if I haven't exactly, because I know that when we're playing in that big game, I feel like I've already played it in my head over and over and over. And the big thing for me is not just visualizing it, like we talked, the really vivid visualizations, the sights, the sounds, the smells, everything. Not just visualizing it accurately, but visualizing success. Not getting in that situation and just being there, but getting that situation, getting the hit, getting the strikeout, whatever it is. So I just have that much more confidence that when I get in that situation, that it's going to turn out the way I want it to.
I think preparation before a tournament or a match, any sport, any type of competition, is really important. But for me, the most helpful is the night before, not even the day of. Is laying in your bed, everything's fine, all your electronics are off, you're just with yourself, and first of all, you just breathe deeply, you relax, and then you visualize yourself the next day and how it's going to happen. And through doing this, you focus your mind and you get ready for your competition before the day is even there.
Okay, so the next main topic we all covered together was the idea of sustaining your focus during competition, being able to block out distractions, staying in the moment with your focus. So we worked a lot on pre-play or pre-shot routines or pre-pitch routines in baseball. We talked a lot about an acronym that we call BSTS, taking a breath, analyzing a situation, committing to your task, and visualizing success. We talked about monitoring your self-talk and things of that nature. So I'm really curious about how you've learned that and implemented it, and what's been successful for you in your various levels of competition.
I think when athletes are competing, that's the point where your mental toughness really decides if you're going to crumble under the stress or you're going to overcome the stress. And the technique of the BSTS really helped me to calm myself down and really focus my mind. So every single point I'm playing like it's the most important point of the whole match. And it really helped me overcome a lot of matches I thought I was going to lose, but I ended up coming back to win. And then for thinking of self-talk, it applies a lot to tennis, but also I noticed it like my overall life. I thought like before I would say really negative things, and when I realized what I was saying and changed what I was saying, it helped off the tennis court too. It helped during practice, and it helped in school, and helped with all my social lives. So the mental toughness training really doesn't just apply to sports, it carries over to everything you do.
The acronym BSTS has been very important for me from going from an okay player to an elite player. I actually have it written down on every single one of my golf balls. So I always look at that before I hit the next shot, and it really just slows me down. And the breathing has been huge for me as well, just to relax. And after a bad shot, it makes it easier to get refocused on the next one. It's just a very nice way to be able to concentrate. It doesn't let you get so sidetracked. It keeps away the negative thoughts, which are so important to not have in your mind before you hit a shot. Because whatever you think before you hit the shot is generally what's going to happen.
So the second pillar of mental toughness we talked about, the sustaining focus. I think that in ways it can be the most important out of the three, because it really helps me to live in the moment when I'm out there playing, and not be worried about, oh, we're down by this many runs, or this is what this game means, or what the next game means especially. And it's important just to, every single pitch, breaking it down and say, how can I win this pitch? And if I win this pitch, how can I win this at bat? How can I win this inning? And that correlates to how can you win games, and then it goes from there. But the big thing that's helped me to stay in the moment is the acronym BSTS. Like we talked about, to breathe, analyze the situation, know your task, and visualize yourself succeeding at that task. And for me, doing that between every pitch, there isn't any room to be thinking about any negative thoughts. It's not anything about what happened the last pitch, it's not anything about the pitch after this even, but just very focused on what's going to happen this exact moment, and controlling whatever you can control about that moment, which is what you're visualizing happening, your mental self-talk.
All right, now let's talk about a really important aspect of mental toughness that we've all probably had to encounter, is recovering from when bad stuff happens, right? I mean, we've all, struck out, hit a bad shot, hit into the net, and hit one into the water. So it all happens. So we all know that that's going to happen to us. So first we worked on recognizing that adversity, being mindful, being aware of what's going on before things spin out of control. So what have you guys found that has been very beneficial to you, things we've worked on, recovery strategies? What's been effective for you in being able to recover from that adversity and getting yourself back in the moment as quickly as possible so you can compete to the best of your ability?
Every athlete will tell you that they've gone through some adversity while they're trying to play. It all depends how you can come back from that. How good of a player you truly are is defined by that. The best thing to do, because after anything goes wrong, like in golf, a bad shot, it can change everything if you let it. So it's very important to be able to flush that shot is what we've really worked on. For me, after I hit a bad shot, it's when the club goes back in the bag that shot's done. That doesn't matter anymore. It's on to the next one. And I got to make sure that I go through my pre-shot routine again and really just slow down, get some deep breaths, visualize it, and then hit the next shot. Because if you can't come back from adversity, you'll never truly be an elite player.
To me, recovering from adversity is one of the integral parts of the mental game, because I think that a lot of athletes can attest to it's very easy to be mentally strong and be a good teammate, be mentally strong, all that, when you're doing well. And I think that when you're 4 for 4 in a game and all that, I think that it's very easy to act like nothing's wrong, everything's all good at that point. But it's when you start to have those games where you're striking out multiple times, guys are hitting you on the mound, whatever it is, that the concept of damage control, even, that one bad thing happens, and are you going to let that one bad thing dictate a bad outcome in the future? And one of the big things we talked about is the mental chipper, is that taking that bad thought and just throwing it in the chipper, like visualizing that thought, just whatever happened in the past, that's gone now. It's going in the chipper. And so I know for me as a pitcher, I use the dirt on the mound, for example, as that if a guy gets a hit off me, if I walk a batter, if I have some adverse outcome, an easy way for me is just to just swipe some dirt off the mound, and kind of that dirt represents that memory, or that whatever just happened. Okay, that's gone. Now focus on this batter. That's been a big thing for me.
Adversity is a big thing that we all deal with in any sport. Any sort of athlete has some experience with it. And I think also it goes back to the BSTS and how well you're able to do that, and how much it becomes part of your routine. And when you face adversity, you can always go back to that and to breathe and calm yourself down, but sometimes it's just not going right. You need to do something. So what I do is I do something physical, like I pretend like to take out a piece of my hair, throw it away. That's what just happened. I'm done with it now. And then I just focus in, breathe again, look at the situation, make my task, and then I visualize myself succeeding. But always the key part is the physical reaction to make the mental reaction become clear.
All right, so to finish up, I'd like to ask each of you to share some of your thoughts on what developing a mental toughness plan has done for you, in regards to helping you achieve your own personal success, your own personal championships.
I think that for me, mental toughness plan, both preparation on the front end, the sustaining focus during competition, and then recovering from adversity on the back end, all of it has really helped me kind of set myself apart as a player. And I know that, like we talked about, talent is overrated. And I know that at this point, I have the talent to succeed. But the catch to that is that a lot of other people do also. And so, if you have the talent to succeed, and the guy you're going against has a talent to succeed, you have to do something to set yourself apart. And for me, dedication to the mental side of the game has been that separator for me. Another thing that has been big for me in regards to mental toughness is the concept of perspective, and kind of compared to what. And if you're having a bad day, keeping in mind that at the end of the day, although we're very passionate about our sport here and everything, that's why we're here working on mental toughness and all that, and trying to get every little advantage we can. At the end of the day, it is a game, and it's important to enjoy the opportunities that we have, and really what the privilege is to play our game. And for me, kind of remembering that baseball doesn't necessarily define me, and that while it's a big part of what I do, and while I care a lot about it and everything, like for me, that my faith is a big part of what I do. And I think that keeping in mind that really defines who I am, and that baseball is really secondary in the long run, it's really been big for me as far as just keeping everything in perspective and keeping a level head no matter what adversity I go through.
Becoming mentally tough has really changed my life. I've gone through some serious injuries. I've had surgeries. I think I had a total of over 3 years of physical therapy. I've had 5 concussions, and it got to the point where I didn't think I was going to be able to play anymore. And I just got so down, and it was all I could do just to move in the morning because I was so upset about it, and I just didn't have the right mindset. And then I came to Dr. Novetsky, and I really started learning what it is to be mentally tough. And it really just started picking me up the more that I bought into it. And it's really changed my life around. It was also very important to remember that my sport doesn't define me. What I am as an athlete doesn't really matter as much as who I am as a person. The identity statement really also helped me with that remembering that's not just about sports. There's way more important things. My faith, my family, everything like that comes first. And that really helps you become more mentally strong and have a better attitude towards things.
I think the mental toughness plan is really a foundation for a lot of success in someone's life. For me personally, for tennis, it's made me jump tremendously amongst my peers, and the players that I lost to in 40 minutes, I'm now beating them or taking them in really close matches because of the mental toughness plan that I've made. But also my grades have improved a lot. Like everything about my life has improved based on the mental toughness plan. And I'm gonna go back to my philosophy about how it doesn't just reward your sports life. It rewards your whole life and every aspect that you truly want to improve.
Well, that's all for today. Again, my name is Dr. Jason Novetsky of Champion Mindset Group. I'd really like to thank Chris, Alex, and Justin for sharing their experiences and their thoughts and their very thought-provoking answers to the questions we proposed about mental toughness. I'd also like to thank our videographer, Rocky Shattuck, for keeping us all together and focused on what we were doing here today as well. I wish them and all of you the best of luck. And remember, please, that being a champion is not just an event, it's a mindset. Best of luck to all of you.